House to Home, presented by Remax Diamond Realty.
All right, everybody, House to Home is here because it is Tuesday, and that means we are talking about the best way to make a deal. And I guess I owe congratulations to my dear friends, Liz and Gina, particularly to Gina, because Gina, I understand you're working on fostering, brokering, overseeing a deal right now that had almost 24 offers on it. So my question is, one, that I'm assuming that's not normal, but then two, that's a good problem to have. It's an abundance of riches, right?
It's a great problem to have, but we're gonna duke it out because she beat me on the offer.
Oh boy.
No, I didn't.
She didn't.
But
Okay, ready and fight. Spark.
Yeah, we don't fight that way, but so let's talk about that. How competitive this market is. It's absolutely so competitive in some areas, not every area, because you hit a certain price range, and of course the price range itself eliminates buyers, because there's only so many people who could afford anything over 600,000. You've lost a lot of people, actually.
So that's the first wave.
Yeah, but in a certain price point, 300 to 450, I think, believe it or not, that's very competitive. So yeah, I mean, I stopped counting at 23. My assistant says we had more offers than that. But yeah, we want to kind of share today. So what do you do if you're in a market like that that's so competitive? What do you do? And that's what we really wanted to kind of nail today, so it'll help the buyers out there as well as sellers.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're a buyer, Jason, and well, this is a great property, as an agent, I would say, hey, Jason, you're going to be competing. And then we'll pretty much look at the property. And then right now in competition, there are a number of ways that people are writing up the offers. So you need a very good realtor to guide you through the process. And again, 23 or more offers, you already know you have to give it your best shot. And of course, it's subject to your financial ability. Mm-hmm. And if you can't play the game, you can try, but more than likely your offer won't make it. So we have to maneuver through the process to see, okay, if we offer X amount, is that going to work? What contingencies do we need to do in that offer so that the owner will look at it and think it's very appealing and this is the offer I want? But of course, the other thing we tell people, cash is king. If the cash offer is stronger than someone who's getting a bank loan, then that has more weight, especially if the price point is just as competitive. But some owners, of course, may not necessarily look at that. There are other factors that they look at.
Okay, and I want to touch on that, and maybe Gina, I can go to you for this one, because we talked last week and we used the analogy of a traditional business like an auction, right? Is you have multiple bidders who are always trying to like one up each other. The process may be like a blind auction where they're not aware of each other or the amount they're bidding. They just know I submitted a bid, it was bested by somebody else, right? In terms of real estate deals and everything, what can I do, or more appropriately, what can you as my realtor do to sweeten the deal? And how, do I bid higher? Do I say like my payment terms would be a little bit accelerated, or, what can I do to appeal myself more to the seller to make sure that I can really seal that deal?
Okay, so if I were working with you, the first thing I would tell you, Jace, is that in a competitive market, you have to clearly demonstrate to the seller how you are going to be able to close on this deal. So the first thing I want you to do, if you're getting financing, which I'd say 95% of the market is doing that, go and get your financing in order. Have the letter ready so you can demonstrate clearly right off the bat, hey, seller, I'm ready to go. You pick me and I'm going to carry it through and close this deal. Because that's what the seller, it's, honestly, show me the money.
I'm very punctual. My credit is exemplary. I have a certain amount of cash in hand. And oh, by the way, Mr. Seller, my wife and my kids really love this house, and they're gonna absolutely have my butt if I don't get this. So I'm trying to appeal to your sense of decency also. Will that work? I mean,
Yeah,
it's a funny
and it is
example, but I
working.
mean, I'm sure people have used that before.
That is working. You know, now with all these political correctness mumbo jumbo that's going on, NAR is discouraging us from discouraging buyers from writing letters and submitting that to a seller because there might be discrimination in this from the seller's point of view when they see that letter. But I say, you're the customer and whatever you do is right. So you want to write a letter? Yes, if I were selling a property, that would touch my heart to see. But the thing is, be mindful, Mr. Buyer Jason, that half of these offers coming in are now including that letter of introduction, showing who you are and the kids and the dog, or just the dog or the cat or the bird. You know, so that does not elevate you above. I mean, it'll just make you stand out. But what will elevate you? Well, if there's a difference between making an offer between you and the seller and bidding. So right now, if you're bidding against other buyers, then the difference is going to be the value. I had a seller the other day tell me, I really, really like this buyer, but gosh, I'm going to go with this price. So
Liz, maybe in that situation that I used, you know, just off the cuff and everything, I would maybe appeal to their heartstrings and tug at them a little bit and everything like that. But ultimately, it comes down to the numbers.
Yes, it comes down to the numbers, and it also comes down to what is the seller's motivation. If the seller had bills to pay, of course, price would be the factor. If the seller just want to get rid of the property, of course, every seller has a different motivation. And so that will dictate how they handle the transaction. And again, you know, as Gina puts it, putting in the letter it's one way to do it, but not too many do it. And when they do, it's again up to the seller to review it and see, does it make a difference for them? So actually in general, it's that small percentage that sometimes makes that difference.
But like you said, yeah, cash in hand also goes a long way too.
Right.
And that's where, as a buyer, Jason, that's where you have to really prep yourself. And when you're in a bidding situation, you're going to phase yourself out just based on your price point, right? So give it your best shot. I mean, I had a customer ask me the other day, did I lose this deal over $5,000? You know, I don't know. I don't know what the range was that got accepted. So I can't tell you that you lost it over $5,000, but in a competitive market, if you still had $5,000 left on the table that you could have used,
why didn't you put it in?
Yeah,
it's hard to find properties you love, so throw it in there.
Okay,
so
well,
the only other advice other than money is pick a good realtor, because if your realtor doesn't have their pulse
on the market, it's difficult. They might say,
and you know what, let's end on that, because we got a couple of minutes left. But I wanted to talk about, since you said we're going through a realtor and it is a competitive market, it's a jungle out there, and in some cases I might actually want to buy a portion of the jungle, right, for my land. What if I want to go about it solo and I don't want to go through a realtor? And I said, you know, I've done a little bit of research, like meaning I've done a bunch of Google queries. I think I can navigate these very treacherous waters and I can make the deal on my own. Realistically, what chance do I have at actually closing that deal?
Explain to him why that doesn't work.
That doesn't work because that's slim to none. Because if you're out there, how are you going to know where the inventory is?
And that's not vanity on your part as a realtor. You're just being honest.
No, realtors have inventory and they'll know what properties you should buy. And then the other point, they would know what is the current market value. You could be offering 600,000 when you could have bought it for 400,000 because you didn't know the market. So that's why we say you've got to go to a realtor, and that realtor would help you, show you what the comps are, what properties have sold. Now, in the case that Gina and I are talking about, it went beyond probably current market value.
Way beyond.
So as an agent, I put in an offer as well, and my buyer was getting a loan, but they had enough cash to make up the difference in the event the appraisal did not come through.
So I might
So-
actually get my wife and kids the house of their dreams, but I got to drive a jalopy around for the next 20 years because I spent 200,000 more than I should have. And that's, I think, the part about the role that you serve that a lot of people overlook is you're not only trying to land that deal for people, you're also trying to get them the best overall bargain and value so they don't overspend.
Yeah, Jace, but you know what? When you're looking for a home, I can see myself, if I find the right home, I can see myself, if I had the ability to overpay, I will overpay because it's different. Yes, your home is an investment, but what do they say? Your home is where your heart is.
Mhm.
And if my heart is in this home, I might just overpay because it's my home. I'm going to live there.
Mhm.
Investors are a little bit different, but I can see people overpaying, especially in this market where there's not a lot of inventory. I'm guaranteeing you're overpaying, but the concept of doing it solo this is the thing that I want to warn you. You can look at MLS. By the time you've seen it in MLS,
It's gone.
all the realtors have already seen it. They've
Yeah.
already shown it.
Because there's so many buyers out there
Yeah.
trying
Well,
to
like
get.
they say in the world of competitive business, every deal is different, but you know what? That's why you go through a realtor, because we got to get that deal done. And we are done as far
You
as our
have to go
time.
to
So
the right realtor who has their
Go for it.
pulse on it, right?
there you go. Well, you have the pulse, and the pulse is actually the heartbeat. So my heart beats for you guys, and helping me to figure out exactly what to do to get that deal of my dreams. Thank you, ladies.
You're so good, Jace.
And thank you guys for watching. We will see you next time. We're going to get that deal done. We're going to go make some cookies or something like that.
Yeah.
All right.
Always.
See you next time.